Welcome to today's GNA. We will be discussing 5 topics. First 4 are related to the prelims and 5th one is related to the mains. So first topic will be on the critically endangered vultures. Second topic will be on the Mahad Satyagraha by the B.R. Ambedkar. Third topic will be on the health security and national security Cess. Fourth topic is on the quantum computing economy. Fifth topic, which is related to the mains, will be the functioning of the parliament. First news is on critically endangered vultures. So what is the context? So BHNS is trying to release 6 critically endangered vultures in Assam. So what is BHNS? So it stands for the Bombay Natural History Society. In 1 year UPSC asks question about this society as well. We will discuss later on. Let us try to focus on what is the news all about and what is the importance of it. So it will lie in GS paper 3. What will the reference? So GS paper 3 environment and ecology will be the reference point for us, right? Now let us try to elaborate more upon the news. So what is happening? So basically it is Bombay Natural History Society in collaboration with the Assam Forest Department basically trying to release or reintroduce critically endangered slender billed vulture. You can see in the background this is the slender billed vulture which is critically endangered, as well as white rumped vulture. Can you see the white rump vulture? It is just parallel to the slender billed, right? So both are critically endangered, and BHNS in collaboration with Assam Forest Department and one another NGO that is Royal Society for the Protection of Bird, RSBP, is trying to release these vulture, and the timeline will be January 2026. And you might be knowing that ICUN, International Conservation Union, which basically classify flora and fauna in terms of their criticality, have classified these two vulture as a critically endangered vultures, right? क्यों ऐसा किया है? Because of one basically one drug is there that we call daclofen. You might be knowing about the daclofen. It's a very famous drug. It is used to treat the basically pain into the cattles. For example, cows or the buffaloes, if they are basically facing pain, daclofen used to be used. However, it is banned till 2006. It is banned. Why it is banned? Because they used to impact the liver of the vultures, resulting the deaths in the vulture vulture, and which resulted in the critical decline into the population of the vultures of India. And that's why they are trying to, the Bombay Natural History Society and the Assam Forest Department is trying to reintroduce in order to maintain the basically the population of the vultures in the state. And this initiative uses a soft release method from the Vulture Conservation Breeding Center in Rani, which is located in Kamrup district of the Assam. So that is the background of the information. Now let us try to ponder more upon the news. Now what is key issue behind the declining population of the vulture in India? So we have already discussed. There is one drug that we use, there is a medicine that we use that we call daclofens, right, which is basically a non-steroid anti-inflammatory drug. Inflammation को control करने के लिए इसका use होता था in the cattles. However, it has very negative consequences on the health of the vultures. That's why there was a basically decline of the vulture in India. Also, second is the frequent pesticide incident targeting stray animal. So farmers used to basically spray pesticides in their farmland, not targeting the vultures. However, since you know that they are not that basically utne evolved nahi hote, they are because of the evolution thing, they are not able to detect which is good for them, which is bad for them. That's why they consume all these basically animals, dead animals carcasses, resulting into death of those animals, right? Also habitat loss from deforestation and urbanization is one of the reason. We all know that we are encroaching upon the habitats of these animals, right, resulting into the loss of habitat, which is very pertinent issue. It is not related to only the vultures, but it is in general impacting the health of the flora and fauna of the India. इसके बाद क्या होता है, the vultures are having very low breeding rate as well as very low breeding success because of their evolution parameters. Hence, somehow their population are not able to stabilize over the period of time because of the drastic fall in the past. Also, there is a limited community awareness. Generally, they are considered as a untouchable animal. They are considered inauspicious if they are found in and around the houses. Hence, people try to avoid. Basically, there is a lack of information about the utility of these key species of the environment. That's why these things are happening. However, of late there has been very good initiative to reintroduce them, to protect them in the wild. Now let us try to understand few unique facts about the vulture conservation in India. So basically BNHS, that is Bombay Natural Society, has bred over 800 vultures across Indian centers, with recent fledging of 37 nestling including slender billed species. Very important data. They are doing phenomenal work. And Assam hosts India's last significant slender billed vulture population. You have seen in the picture is the slender billed vulture, and Assam is the last resort to this vulture, which is very significant. That's why we should be protecting these kind of animal with our efforts, right? Also, vulture decline in India caused more than 50,000 extra human death. What happens since they clean the carcasses, hence they try to basically clean the environment indirectly. How? If the dead bodies are laid and they are not treated well, they can result into the spread of communicable as well as non-communicable disease in the population, human population as well as in the animal population. They used to basically eat all these dead animals which is left in open areas, resulting lack of spread of bacterial disease in the vicinity. But due to the decline in the population of slender bills vulture or vulture in general, these dead bodies are causing lot of communicable disease in the vicinity of area, resulting in the death of the humans as well. That's why we should be protecting these animals. And a soft release basically method involved aviaries for accumulation, proven with 2 parent reared vultures surviving 15-month post release. And over 600 vulture die in one of the Assam district recently in 2025, which is very matter of the concern for us. It was because of the pesticide poisoning in the vulture. Now, what are the key challenges in terms of protecting the vulture population in India? So basically there we will be discussing 5 key challenges in this discussion video. First is basically ongoing non-steroid anti-inflammatory drug, that is daclofan, and basically daclofan and other drugs which cause death of these animals are basically available in open market. It is illegally traded because it is cheaper, it is easily available, resulting into 99% of the population decline since 1990 in India. This is very alarming data to understand. Second is the pesticide poisoning. We have already discussed that is more than 100 vultures dies in 2025 recently in Assam district, right, which is basically intended for the dog targeting baits, but in spite of the dogs, they consume the innocent vultures, consume them and resulting in the death of those vultures. Habitat degradation we have already discussed. We have discussed the enforcement gaps in drug ban. For example, acylrofen, keptophan still used despite 2023 ban. These are also causing basically death among the vulture population of India. Still it is being used, and vultures when released into the wild are not able to survive. Out of the 10, only 2 are able to survive, which is also a matter of the concern. You might have studied about in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. So this is not functioning for the vultures, hence we need to protect them with our all kind of the efforts, right? Now what we are doing, let us try to understand. So root cause behind the death of vultures are veterinary daclofen use. It was banned in 2006, but evaded via illegal formations affect all vulture population, and India lost almost 50 million birds to few thousand due to the abuse of daclofen in India. Also, we the other drugs like acetaminophen persist post to 2023 Gazette, and there is action plan for the 2025 for 8 breeding centers, safe zone behind schedule. Rural vets and farmers are non-compliant, monitoring expanded, but they are quite uneven, resulting into the low survival rate of the vultures of India. Now, what is the solution? We as a bureaucrat, we should be focusing more on the solution rather than only the focusing on the problems. We know the problem, let us try to understand what is the solution to it. So, I will give 5 solutions for the basically restoration of the population of the vultures in India. Hope it will help you to generate more point in your answers or to basically understand things in a better term. So, first is the non-steroid anti-inflammatory drug, that is the daclofen family drug. So, how we can basically control them? So, we can use deploy blockchain tracked. What we can deploy this blockchain tracked meloxim distribution app for vets. For the veterinary people, we can have this app. We can create an app which can basically track the uses of these drugs, right, which is very critical, and which will help us to trace the drug supply chain. Followed by we can have the QR vet licensing. We can have the carcasses testing kit available with the vets. Those who are basically into the field can test the carcasses of the dead bodies of the animal on the spot in order to detect the daclofen like the component from the spot, and it can be removed, which can reduce illegal daclofen by 70% in pilot pharma apps. It was used in the Kenya, and we have the basically role model for us. We have the case study of the Kenya in which it was used, and 70% population has survived this thing. This is very interesting fact to know. We can partner with the vet department, forest department for the better implementation of it. So, ये हो गया about the NSAID poisoning. Second problem was the pesticide incident that we have discussed. In one district, more than 100 vulture die in a one single day. So, we can do the AI drone surveillance of the area. AI drone surveillance of the area is very innovative, very cost effective as well for the carcasses monitoring, and we can do the early poison detecting in this area using spectral imaging. We have the different methods. One of the method to detect such kind of the poison is spectrometry. Using the spectrometry analysis, we can detect if a dead body contain daclofen or not, and accordingly we can remove the dead carcasses from the area. Similar thing was done in the Africa in pilot basis, and 50% success rate was there, which is also very innovative solution to this kind of the thing. Second was next problem was the habitat degradation. We have discussed how over the period of time the habitat of vultures are degrading in India. For it, what we can do it? So, we can have the community GIS nesting site mapping. For example, if they are having the nest in one particular area, we can do the GIS mapping of it, which can be basically circulated among the villagers, so that intentionally or unintentionally they are not able to destroy those nets. And it was done in Madhya Pradesh safe zone, in which there was a 30% gain into the habitat of the local population using all these kind of technology, right, which can be used here as well for the restoration of the population of the vultures in India. What next? In terms of the enforcement gap, we have seen daclofen was banned in 2006. Other daclofen like steroid, non-steroids were banned in 2023. Still, it is basically used by the different basically stakeholders of the India. What we can do it for the enforcement? So, we can have the vet compliance dashboard with incentive. For example, we can have the real time NSAID sale monitoring. We can have the e-pharmacy linkages subsidy for the safe drug can be done. And in the past in Nepal there was a basically restoration of 40% ban adherence rise in the Nepal, right. It's very important to understand. Nepal used it, we are not able to use it, so we can use it. Also for low survival we can use virtual reality simulated foraging training pre-release. So we can train our basically forest department official using virtual reality technique in order to soft release these population in India. Now this was all about the solution to the issues. Let us try to understand what are the vultures and what is the use of it. So in India there are, we have all 9 vulture species found in India. So the vulture species that is found in India is given in background, and all these vultures are found in India, right. But critically endangered species, primarily Japus genus, suffered 90 to 99% population decline, which is very alarming. And this decline is basically we are facing it since 1990s. That is also a matter of concern. Now let us try to understand what are those different species and what is their ICUN status, because UPSC focuses on these kind of the data. So we will discuss only the basically species who are critically endangered. So it is white rumped vulture which is critically endangered, and global population is less than 55,000 to 6,000. Second is the slender billed vulture, it is also critically injured, and global population is less than 1,000, very critically alarming condition. Next is the Indian vulture which is also critically injured, less than 1,000 to 2,000 surviving population is there, which is also a matter of concern. Next is the white backed vulture which is a rare migrant population, and very few are available in the market, in the basically environment. Finally it is the red handed vulture which is critically endangered, and less than 1,000 population survives in the basically wild. Now which is the least concern? So Eurasian griffon is the least concern. It can be asked as well, which one is the of the following is the least concerned vulture species of India. So it is Eurasian basically griffon. Now we have discussed it is the BNS, Bombay Natural History Society, which is doing all these efforts. So let us try to understand what is Bombay Natural History Society. So basically Bombay Natural History Society was established in 1883. It is a very old organization. It is very old, but it is an NGO. It is not a government institution, it is an NGO. As name suggests, it is a society, right. Hence it is not a government institution. Who established it? So it was established by the 6 Britishers and 2 Indians. So they used to be the amateurs natural historian, and they established a society to protect the natural history of India of that time. And is India's oldest wildlife research NGO, promoting conservation through science based action. Headquartered is located in Mumbai is Dr. Salim Ali Chowk. If you are from the Mumbai, you might be knowing it. That is the information that is more than sufficient to understand this about the Bombay Natural History Society. Let us try to basically wrap this topic and solve the question from the given information. It is displayed on the screen. Next topic is on Mahad Satyagraha. So it came into today's Hindu. Let us try to understand what is the Mahad Satyagraha all about. What are the 2 different versions of Mahad Satyagraha? What is its impact on our Indian constitution and the society? So let us try to discuss more about it. It will fall into our Indian history topic, and somehow it is related to the polity and society as well. So it is the context that recently we have seen basically Mahad Satyagraha was in news. So what is the background of Mahad Satyagraha? Let us try to understand. So Mahad Satyagraha was basically launched by the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Which year? To 1927. So which year it was launched? In 1927 by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who is basically considered as one of the stalwart of the Indian social movement, political movement, constitutional development, etc. Right? And it was one of the earliest organized human right movement. It was what? It's very important. It was a human right movement. And the Mahads during this Satyagraha, the basically B.R. Ambedkar led campaign challenged untouchability, demanding equal civic right and question the caste-based social order of the colonial India. So we are talking about the colonial India, not the present India. We should be knowing, right? Also, these Satyagraha later influenced debate on the constitutional morality, equality, human dignity, and citizenship, equally shaping key provisions of the Indian Constitution. Now let us try to understand where it is the location of the Mahad. So basically, Mahad is located in modern day Bombay, or we call it, it was located in Bombay Presidency of the colonial India. Where it was located? In the Bombay Presidency, which is located in Maharashtra of the colonial India. What was the issue? So untouchable were denied access to the public water sources, especially Chavdar tank, in which basically it was dominated, it was a Mahad town was dominated by the industrial class. However, untouchable were denied the water right as per the activist of that time, and accordingly in 1923 Bombay Legislative Assembly formed a rule, or formulated a rule, in which such basically untouchability practice was banned. Still it was widely prevalent. Who provided leadership to it? So basically it is Dr. Ambedkar, who supported the social reformers like A.V. Chavan, S.K. Bole and others. So it is not the only movement of the, so it was not the movement which was led only by the B.R. Ambedkar, but others are also supporting the B.R. Ambedkar in this movement. And what was the nature of it? It was a civil right movement asserting social equality, citizenship right and human dignity. So this is the background of this thing. Now why Mahad was chosen? Because we have discussed that it was industrial center with high caste discrimination, and background was set by activists like Sasrbuddhe, Tipnis, Gavnikar, and who were basically actively mobilizing the Dalits of that time. And Ambedkar aimed to make Mahad a symbolic site for the right-based revolution in India. So there are two basically versions of Mahad Satyagraha, Mahad 1.0 and Mahad 2.0. Let us try to understand why there was a twice the movement. So what is Mahad Satyagraha 1.0? It was launched in March 2027. When it was launched? March 2027, to assert Dalit right to drink water from the public tank, and in which Ambedkar and its anuyayi or followers drank water publicly, which resulted in the violent caste backlash. Water rights were resisted and a court injunction restrained Dalit from entering to the tank again. So what happened? Those who were not happy with Dalits entering to the water tank started protesting against it, and it resulted in the violent clash between the Dalits and non-Dalits, resulting even the court refrained Dalits so don't enter to the tank. It was a very strange kind of a decision taken by the court, but to restore the social order, to basically restore the public order of that time, not the social order. And what was the significance of it? It was the first large scale mobilization for Dalit civil right and first challenge to the caste based public discrimination in India. However, it met with the limited success. Why? Because we have seen court have given the injunction. Accordingly, during this time only, B.R. Ambedkar launched a journal that we call Bahishkrit Bharat. तो very important, कहीं ना कहीं उसका एक use होगा in modern Indian history for the basically UPSC purposes. You can see it, तो उसका आप use कर सकते हैं ऐसे points का. Next, so next is, and during this time only, since Ambedkar was not happy with the outcome of this Mahad Satyagraha launched in March 2027, a fresh movement was launched in again December 2027, in which Ambedkar returned to the Mahad for Satyagraha emphasizing human right and dignity, gender equity and nation building based on the liberty, equality and fraternity. And he promoted an enlightened idea of citizenship, transcending caste and etc. So this was the importance, and second was also well received by the Dalits of India. Now how they reshaped or how they shaped the constitution of India, let us try to understand, because you have seen there are various articles which resonate with such kind of the basically the ideas. For example, article 14, which talks about there shall be equity before the law. Also there are Article 15, that is prohibition of discrimination on the caste, sex or the gender. Also there is the Article 17 which talks about the abolition of the untouchability. So basically kind of the untouchability was used in that area, resulting in the Article 17, right. Also Article 21 talk about dignity and personal liberty link. All these are can be inspired from the Mahad Satyagraha of the Ambedkar itself. Now idea of constitutional morality was also somehow shaped during this time, because Ambedkar defined constitutional morality as a respect for right, rational thinking in opposition to the hierarchical social norm, and hence Mahad symbolizes the shift, challenging scriptural and social authority with the authority of the right. Means ab chalega kanun ka law, there will be a rule of the law, there will be a rule of the constitution, rather than the basically society will be based on the existing norms of that time. That is the importance of it. Also it Mahad Satyagraha emerged Ambedkar idea that a nation must be built on fraternity and equal citizenship, and not on caste or graded inequality, which formally shaped our preamble, which talks about the justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. And there is a democratic citizenship principle as well, which social revolution precedes political freedom. And Ambedkar said that we can gain the political freedom, but to become truly independent country, we need to have the basically social revolution in India, which is very important. Hence Mahad Satyagraha emboldened this idea of somehow the caste discrimination, the gender discrimination, etc. can be done away with in the modern constitutional state. Based on the given information, let us try to solve the question which is displayed on the screen. Next article is on the health, security and national security cess. So it is related to the UPSC GS paper 2. And what is the context of it? Let us try to understand. So basically Union government has proposed a new legislature. It is one proposed legislation only, it is proposed bill to impose a health, security and national security cess on select demerit goods as a pan masala and tobacco products. You can see in the background, मुंह में रजनीगंधा, कदमों में दुनिया. These are considered a demerit good. What are demerit good? Which can have the bad impact on the health and the society. So what is the aim of this bill? To create dedicated and predictable revenue stream for the public health, including awareness, campaign and health scheme, and national security including defense preparedness. What is happening? So you might have seen in any movie you will see a person named Mukesh who used to chew the tobacco and he died out of the cancer. So for the treatment of such diseases due to the basically misuse of the pan masala and all can be used in after this bill. There will be taxation or the cess on the these demerit good after and the cess which is received after such taxation can be used for the treatment of the patient suffering from such health diseases. So पहले तो पान मसाला खाओ, बीमार पड़ गए तो आपको क्या हो जाएगा, आपका इलाज भी हो जाएगा because of the cess is being imposed. It is very welcoming step because what will happen, the pan masala which is causing such non-communicable disease and resulting to the basically a lot of the loss of the life, somehow they will be motivated to eat gutka on the frequent basis. Also we know that since pan gutka and pan masala they are quite revenue generating entity, or the basically they are quite revenue generating goods, sin goods. So additional amount can be transferred, additional sales can be transferred for the developing defense equipment for India, defense strategy for India, because it is very capital intense industry, which is also very welcoming step. Now what are the bill proposes? So it will impose a new cess, and this cess will be levied only on the demerit good जैसे कि पान मसाला, tobacco products and other potential harmful product which can be added by the notification. So as of now they are trying to impose cess on only pan masala and tobacco product, and these items are associated with significant health risk. We have discussed the case of the Mukesh, in which Mukesh has to die because of the consumption of the pan masala. And cess are not levied on the essential good. which is clarified by Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji, that no essential commodity like food, medicine, daily use item will come under this cess. That is, the cess is only to deter basically those who abuse these kind of the pan masala and to not burden the common consumers like we and you. Now, this is very unique that generally cess are charged by the union and used by the union. In this case, it will be charged by the union but will be shared with the state government as well, which is very unique case. That's why we are discussing it. So, as per the bill draft document, the part of cess revenue will be shared with the state for health awareness, for public health scheme and health related expenditure. We know that our expenditure on health is quite low. So, if you are extracting revenue by imposing cess on these demerit good, the health infrastructure can be boosted after we basically charge them. Also, center state fiscal arrangement are important because cess revenue typically stays with the center, hence here state will also be benefited. We have already discussed it. Now, it is also clarified by the Honorable Finance Minister that it will not impact GST compensation on that. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि इस सेस के कारण आपका GST compensation कम हो जाएगा, नहीं, it will be an add-on benefit to you, right? Cess will be charged outside the GST structure, hence it will not affect GST compensation mechanism or revenue formula anyhow. Also, there is a clause that it will be linked with the capacity and machine linked application. And Honorable Finance Minister clarified that the cess is not based on the production output. What happened? Generally, people basically those who are into this industry try to basically fudge with the data in order to evade the tax. Now, the tax will be based not on the production. कितना production हो रहा है उससे नहीं. How much machine is used, how many hours are invested, how many people are invested. The tax will be based on this thing only, right? This is basically machine linked and capacity based tax will be there, so that manipulation of the production data can be avoided, which is basically misused by those basically industry. Now, what is the objective of it? There is a threefold objective. What are the objective? A, to promote the health, B, to promote the national security, and C, to impart transparency into the mechanism. Now, cess is being applied, so we will have to understand what is the meaning of the cess. So, a cess is a tax levied for the specific purpose. For example, Swachh Bharat cess is there, health and education cess is there, and Krishi Kalyan cess is there. This is an example. Now, there will be pan and masala cess as well. Now, these are very purpose specific. For example, revenue must be used for the identified object. If there is a cess on the pan masala, you cannot impose cess on other object. It will be only done for the pan masalas. Means it is identified and basically levied only for that good. Also, it is very temporary in nature. Once the objectives are met, for example, if you are able to boost our health infrastructure, or if you are able to boost our national security, which is a long term basically objective, after that it will be removed. It is temporary in nature and it is not shareable with the state unless specified. But in this case, this is specified that the cess on the pan masala will be shared with by the state. And which constitutional article provides for it? Article 270 and Article 265 provides for basically imposition of cess on any good. Now, what are the other basically terms that we are using it? First is the demerit good. So, demerit goods are goods that is harmful for the health and society. So, these are known as the demerit good. Tobacco, liquor, these are considered demerit good. What is GST compensation cess? It is a special cess on luxury sin good. For example, if you are buying a luxury vehicle, so basically this can be applied on you. A new cess is separate from the GST compensation cess. Also, what is machine based taxation? A tax method where the levy is based on number of machines, machine capacity or operation rather than the actual production. So, it is very basically inspiring to understand that government is looking for the ways and means to extract more revenues from the demerit goods. Inspector Raj, it is basically a term used for the excessive inspection, harassment by the tax officials and increased bureaucratic control over the medium small industries. What is government in why लेकिन government क्यों introduce करी सेस को? तो we have already discussed, health perspective है, national security funding है and reduced tax evasion का provision है, but there are concern raised by the opposition parties as well. For example, they are raising the concern that most of these pan masala are basically produced by the MSMEs, which is considered backbone of the Indian economy. Hence, if we are basically introducing new kind of the cess, it will somehow trigger closure, or it will be less incentive, resulting into the job loss of the person who are working in this industry. This is one thing. Second is again fear of the inspector Raj, because inspector Raj, which was basically used in the past, they will turn into the inspection of the sites, they will do the harassment, and also there is a chance of the corruption in such situation. Also, it questioned government and the transparency. A very beautiful word, basically phrase was used by the RJD MP. He called that it will result in the cessification of the governance, which will reduce parliament's oversight on the law making process. Cessification of the governments is the term used by the basically parliamentarian, and because too many cesses will result into the reduced space for the state to extract revenue from the center. Also, a few MPs basically discussed that government itself promote pan masala because it's a very high revenue entity, but again government is basically imposing cess on it. If you want really to improve the health of the society, health of the nation, you should ban the pan masala rather than basically promoting the production and then basically imposing the cess on it, which is very controversial in nature, which is very contradictory in nature. That is the question raised by the, because in the past we have seen various e-sports game has been banned by the government. If they can ban, because they are impacting the youth of the society, they can ban these kind of the pan masalas as well. It will result into the better health of the condition rather than giving incentive to them to produce and then providing the cess to basically extract the revenue. Now, what are the likely economic and governance impact? So there can be positive impact, there can be negative impact. Positive impact means there will be more resource for the health. We have already discussed, we are expending less than 3% on the health. It will be resulting to the more expenditure on the health. It will also boost national security, which is very capital intense industry. It will also discourage consumption of these kind of the sin goods, and it will improve the transparency into the overall taxing mechanism. What is the negative impact? So cost will be escalated. Generally, you will see these pan masalas and gutkas are used by the lower strata of the society, and they are also already struggling with the economic basically economically they are struggling. But if we are providing more cess, they will have to struggle more. That is the negative impact, and it will result into inflation of sin goods. It will also somehow jeopardize center state relation, and it will basically do the burden of the compliance on the MSMEs, who are basically considered as the backbone of the Indian economy. Now, based on all this information, let us try to solve the question which is shown in the screen. Our next news is on a report which was released by the Niti Aayog named Transforming India into a Leading Quantum Powered Economy. So topic's name is Quantum Powered Economy. Context is Niti Aayog released its report Transforming India into Leading Quantum Powered Economy yesterday. It will lie into the GS paper, paper 3 economy, and we'll try to understand the more about what is the key aspect of the news. So let us try to understand what is the meaning of the quantum technologies first before pondering upon what is the report all about. So quantum technology means technology that exploit properties of the quantum physics. For example, superimposition, entanglement, tunneling. These enable computing, communication and sensing material science far behind classical limits. That's why they are known the quantum computing, right? Also, what are the sub-domain of this quantum computing? First is the quantum computing, second is the quantum communication, third is the quantum material, and fourth is the quantum sensing. Let us try to understand each one by one. So what is quantum computing? Basically, quantum computing uses qubits. What they use is qubits, and they can solve complex problem exponentially faster, and they are quite useful in drug discovery, which is very complex process, optimization, machine learning, ML. For example, if you are using the ChatGPT and such model, these are based on the machine learning, and breaking current cryptography into simpler form. What is the quantum advantage? When quantum plus classical computing outperform classical computing alone. So these are known as the quantum advantage. These keywords can be asked verbatim. That's why to understand the keyword is very important. What is quantum communication? So basically, since Russia's president is visiting the India, you might have seen how secure communication the Russian president or US president, or for that matter Indian prime minister, uses. So if we are using the communication which is based on the quantum computing, it is more secure, it is more fast. That's why it is preferred by the defense and the such critical infrastructure entities. We can also use the quantum communication for critical communication, in which the quantum key distribution, that is QKD, for ultra secure communication that cannot be intercepted without detection, which is important for the military and government network, which is very important. That's why Niti Aayog releases its report that India should be using these kind of the technology. Next keyword that is there, which is quantum sensing and metrology, which is extremely sensitive measurement tool. For example, atomic clock. In the atomic clock, which is also used in the Chandrayaan and other such kind of the basically for this space exploration we are using it. These basically atomic clocks are used, which is also based on the quantum sensing and metrology technique, which is very critical for the space, defense, aerospace and resource exploitation. Next is the quantum material, which is new material needed in quantum processing, sensors and energy efficient system. Now these are the keywords, background of what are the quantum computing, what is the quantum economy. Let us try to understand what the report says, why we need quantum technology and why we to be a quantum leadership of the world. So countries like USA, China and Europe already invested $10 million annually in the quantum research and development techniques. Quantum technology will define future competitiveness, digital sovereignty and national security. That's why it's a frontier technology that is we should be investing. And India's national need also overlaps with the quantum leadership. How? So quantum can transform healthcare, logistics, energy, material and finance of country. And by 2030, quantum may unlock $1 to 2 trillion globally across the industry. This is very important. And without the investment, India risks becoming a mere consumer of foreign quantum solution rather than a leader. We won't be able to become the Vishwa Guru. Rather than we will be a follower, disciple. We will become the world disciple and we intend to become the Vishwa Guru. That's why investing into the quantum technology is very important. Next, the report talks about the India's vision for the 2030 and what are the targets. So basically the report defines a measurable national vision in which there are two visions that India is eyeing for. First is the 10 plus globally competitive quantum startup. We want to make startup 10 in numbers which is globally competitive. Second, India need to capture more than 50% of the global quantum software and service marketed. Since we are a leader into the software industry, we want to early tap the quantum technology in order to become India the leader of this field. Also, quantum deployment at the scale in the at least three major sectors, that is the defense, healthcare and material finance is needed. And quantum Atmanirbharta is the need of our India becomes a net exporter of quantum hardware plus software, which is the part of the global supply chain. It is the basically aim of India's quantum leap. Also, India wants to become a global R&D hub with top ranked publications, patents and the scientific background. These are the intended objective which is shown in this report. Now, what is the economic and sectoral value of quantum technology? Basically it is considered that it will impact our healthcare system in which precision medicine and advanced diagnosis can be used for the betterment. Second is the energy sector in which we can optimize renewable energy grids. Next is the logistics sector in which we can route optimization and predictive modeling for the better traffic management. And next is the finance in which we can do the fraud detection and secure transaction in a better manner. And finally is the defense sector in which we will be doing GPS free navigation and secure communication. Try to recall how the GPS was basically denied in 1999 by the US during this Kargil conflict. If we are using the quantum technology, these kind of the dependency can be reduced significantly. That is the purpose of this report. Now, what are the current challenges for India? We will do the SWOT analysis. What is the weaknesses India has in this frontier technology? So, first is the underdeveloped indigenous hardware ecosystem is there. Second is that there is a heavy import dependence for material and the component related to the quantum technologies. Also, there is a very low investment in basic science. Less than 0.65% of the GDP is used for the basically basic science, and there is a skill shortages. Cryogenics, optics, and microwave systems, we are quite dependent on the foreign import. Also, there is a weak IP protection and slow technology commercialization. These are the weaknesses of India. And what are the threats? So, China's dominance in quantum material and rapid investment done by China is very alarming. Second is the brain drain of the quantum talent. You might be knowing that we have the IITs, but IITians don't serve India. That is the allegation of the IIT. I am not saying it. It is a evolving debate. That's why we are facing the brain drain problem. We need to retain them. Also, there is a risk of India becoming standard taker, not a standard maker. We want to become the standard maker, not the standard taker. We want to establish the standard for the world, and we don't want to absorb the standard made by the world. That's why the threats we need to basically absorb. Now, what is the action agenda for the India? First, we need to expand quantum workforce at least 10x in next 2-3 years. Second is we need to train more than 10,000 developer in quantum software. Next is the drive industry adaptation investment. We need to launch 25 plus quantum industry pilot by 2030. We need to create sandbox in banking, pharma, energy, and manufacturing. We need to accelerate lab to market transition, and we need to scale the fundamental research in quantum computing. That is basically statement given in the the report. Also, we need to make India attractive for the quantum startups. We need to lead global standards and quantum diplomacy and strengthen global trade and supply chain. Now, what is the risk of inaction? We are not if we are not applying these kind of the actionable action, what will the result of it? There will be weak cyber security due to quantum attacks. We will lose ownership of critical IP. Strategic vulnerabilities in defense, communication, and sensing will be there, and will miss opportunity to build a high value job and innovative leadership in India. So this was basically all about the quantum technology. Let us try to solve the question which is displayed on the screen.